All right. Good evening, folks out there in podcast land and those listening live on Facebook. Time for another episode of Things My Mother Never Told Me. Brandon, say hey.
Hello.
Yeah, it's time for us to get another one in. We doing this funny thing, but it's all right. We'll be all right. Today we got one of them serious-ish topics we want to discuss. Why do people do the things that they do? Yeah, that's what we want to talk about because people out here doing some crazy stuff, and they've been doing crazy stuff, but they were really doing crazy stuff now. And Brandis was so kind to find an actual article, actual TED talk from what's his name? Tony Robbins. So we're going to use him as our clinical background, I guess you could say. So we want to give him his credit up front so that our the content chasers won't flag us for not giving credit where credit is due. So this is from a TED talk. Some of the stuff we're talking about is from a TED talk that Tony Roberts did about 10, 15 years ago. Uh why, and let me make sure I say the name correctly. Why you do what you do. And so, Brandis, did you have the your because that's the foundation we're going to go with, and then we're going to throw our own take on the subject. Uh, we may throw a joke or two in there, but this is mostly a serious topic. So, Brandis, go ahead and lead the way.
All right. Cool. So wait, first let me make sure I can hear me because I'm looking and I don't hear me.
Yeah, I always can hear you, but
No one else can, but I'm
know.
getting levels from my audio.
Right.
Maybe I'm just low like you were telling me.
Well, yeah, over here I can hear you clearly, but that's always been the case, right? So where did you save it to? You saved
Okay.
it to
Yeah.
my page, or
Hold
did
on.
you save it to things my mother never told you? Is that where you posted it
The live.
on me? Yeah, the live.
Yeah, it's on your page and I shared it to things my mother never told me.
Okay. Yeah, because it do me funny. It don't want to. It ain't came up
Okay, so
yet.
I'm gonna just boost me up here a bit. I can hear me, but it is kind of low. So please let us know if I get too low. For y'all, I don't want to have to lean all up on it like this. But if I absolutely have to, I will. I'll just hold it out of frame like this. So yeah, again, Tony Robbins is his name. So just to start, we'll list out the six what did he call them? Six human needs.
Yes.
So certainty, variety, significance, love and connection, and then growth and contribution.
Yeah.
So we may touch on them all, but I know for sure there's a couple that I wanted to pull out and kind of,
Right.
talk to. And I'll start with for sure, this idea of certainty.
Hmm.
And I think often, our driving force or driving factors are like, I need to know,
Right.
what's going on. I
Exactly.
don't want to avoid being hurt. I want to avoid pain if I can, and I need to find and lock in on something that's comfort for me.
Right. Right.
And usually that looking for or seeking that comfort motivates people to take action in various different ways, right? Whether that's having a routine, you're repeatedly doing something over and over, or if it's just out of kind of nature's habit to do it, right? You do something
Hmm.
for 7 days, you just start doing it over and over all the time. Um but in the same sense that we like certainty, like to know what's going on, what's going to happen. I go to work every day. I'm going to get paid this much. My check should be, this much every other Friday or every Friday, whatever my pay cycle looks like, because I know that covers XYZ bills that I need to,
Right.
be able to handle
That's
and
right.
do and sustain my livelihood. Um, so often in the certainty piece,
Hmm.
money can be, a motivating factor as well for the things people are doing. I
Right.
know people that go
Right.
to jobs they hate every day,
Every
the
day.
unhappiest they could be, right? But again,
Hmm.
I need to know that after I do these 80 hours, I am going to be able to, provide for my family, eat, and, so on and so forth. So again, that certainty drives people often.
Right, right. Yeah, it's like a twist on it. It's like most folks that are retired, if you ask them for anything outside of what their
Mm,
scheduled bills are, I'm on a fixed income.
yes.
And before I retired, I always used to tell everybody, I think all of us are on fixed incomes that work 9 to 5s. We know
Mm,
we know what our yearly salary is, and if we're not working overtime, we know what we're getting. So our income is fixed. And so, but there's the certainty. But that's like you said, that's the difference between being an entrepreneur and working for somebody else.
yeah.
Because entrepreneurship, even if you bringing that money in, you don't necessarily, most people I know who went the entrepreneur route, the one thing they all complain about is insurance.
Mm.
Because that's a whole different ball game when you the
Yeah.
owner and operator.
Yeah.
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 So the whole I've seen I know when the newspapers were on strike years ago, people were telling me how much they had to pay for insurance, and it was ridiculous.
Wow.
Like six, seven, $800 a month
Yeah. I
for
think
health
I didn't
insurance.
know. I for sure take it for granted,
Yeah.
be having it through an employer.
Right.
Um, yeah. So
Right.
I could only imagine.
Right. So yeah, that assurance is number one. But in his list, the number two item
It's
is
variety.
variety.
Because I can't keep doing the same thing for not much too long. As much
Right.
as I love it and being on this stable system, I got to shake it up a bit, and I
Right.
think one thing before we move to another one was in there he was saying like when people's certainty gets threatened, they kind of can't think clearly and start making rash and or
Oh yeah.
irrational decisions and doing things because now it's like a panic, immediately go into panic mode for people who are used to a rhythm and a routine and everything going a certain way. Like, me, I can go on the fly and be like, I'm gonna figure it out. I might get a little tense, but I,
Mhm.
I I know that I could figure it out. Some people, for them, that's trauma sometimes. I know people that are like really good, I would say, financially with money, budgeting and things like that, because they would tell me like, hey, I came from not having money, so like now that as an adult, I have to care for myself and make stuff happen. I don't want to ever be back where I didn't have. And I'm
Right.
like, you know what, that would probably make me think about money differently too.
Right.
So you know
Yeah, but the problem with that, and that's the people who are trying to, I guess, maintain the lifestyle. But most people who come from nothing, not most people, let me not say everybody, but a lot of people who come from
mm,
nothing live their lives like they come from everything.
mm,
And so in other words, they live way outside of their means. And then they wind up living from check to check. And so we live, or people have a tendency to live like they can buy anything they want to, but they know that they can't afford everything they want to. So now they are immersed in heavy debt.
yeah, yeah,
And that's all to keep what they perceive to be a certainty about a lifestyle. Because now you live in a certain way, and you want to keep living that way. Because what I always used to tell people is when you get a raise, and I think a lot of financial experts tell you when you get a raise, you shouldn't spend the raise.
mm-hmm.
Just keep living like you've been
I
living,
got you. Yeah.
and then the raise will help you get through the crunch. But a lot of us, when we get a raise, we
We
live.
already counted it out.
Oh, and matter of fact, if I get a $15 raise, now I'm gonna spend $30
Yep,
more
yep.
instead of 15. I'm spending thirty
Instead of
dollars
just
more.
15, I'm spending
I'm
because
spending
I'm gonna make
30.
that other
Yeah,
15 up. Yeah, yeah. So it's also a mindset
it's a
and
mindset.
all that thing too to go
Yeah,
with it.
right. It's also
But
it's totally a mindset. Go ahead.
mm,
You was about to say.
yeah. No, I was just gonna say, and I think that was the category that this talk he did fell under. Like he does coaching in different, areas, and this one was under mindset.
Yeah,
Like,
right. Yeah, yeah. It was on the mindset because ultimately what people fail to realize or fail to act on is that all of these things are controllable as much as we can control things, because we tend to overstate certain problems and understate others,
Mm-hmm.
depending on which one is we perceive to be most important. Because his next item was significance. And significance, I think, because I hadn't seen this until you showed it to me. Significance to me was probably the reason why this topic was in my mind,
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of people today, with social media being what it is, they live their lives with a rush, or put a heavy importance on being significant. Everything we do,
Yep.
we want to be famous. We want to be internet famous. We whatever we do. Like we was just talking, there's an accident on the road. I could help somebody,
Or
or I could video this and be the first person to stream it. Now I got a bunch of views. And it was this guy a couple days ago rescued this woman from a burning car. And it was so funny because the car was engulfed in flames.
mm,
He ran over to try to help, and one of the EMS techs gave him a fire extinguisher.
here you go, bud.
Yeah, you go ahead and help. I ain't, it was crazy, but did this, but I don't know if that wasn't necessarily a need for significance as much as a need, and I don't know, love and connection, I don't growth and contribution, contribution, whatever, love and contribution, trying to show that he or his inner being
Mm,
just wanted to jump to help,
help. Mm-hmm.
somebody, even at putting on his own life in peril. But
Yeah.
this whole significance, that gets a lot of people in a lot of trouble. I mean, they are videoing everything and anything. And so he says the third need, significance. We all have the need to feel that our lives are significant, that our lives are important, unique, and in some way special. And so that drives us to do a lot of stuff, a lot of
Oh yeah.
crazy stuff.
Oh yeah.
I mean, like, why would you be driving? Well, I'll give you an example. I saw a video. These girls were driving in this car late at night. They were drinking uh I can't think of it, tequila.
Mm-hmm.
They were videoing themselves
Drinking.
drinking, passing the bottle. Yeah, the driver was, and was actually videoing the screen, the speedometer, 115 miles an
Oh,
hour.
I think I remember this. Yeah.
Why
Why?
we got to do that?
Why? Why are we incriminating ourselves?
But why are we doing that? Why are we driving 115 miles an hour at night, drinking, passing the bottle around? So the driver ain't really paying attention to the road.
Mm-hmm.
And the 115 is bad enough. They weren't wearing seatbelts.
Oh, come on.
So when they crashed, they were ejected from the vehicle. And only it was, I guess, it was four girls in the car. Only one of them survived.
Wow.
But it's like,
Why?
what's the point? What is the point? What are you trying to prove? Nobody really cares that you accepted once you had that accident. Now it
Then
becomes
it became.
a
Mm-hmm.
concern, or an issue. That here we talking about it. But if you hadn't have done that, we wouldn't be talking about it. But here's the other part of it, though. Your need to be significant, although it may have been met, you don't know.
You ain't.
You ain't here. You're gone. So why? And if that wasn't the need, then why? Why do we do things like that?
Mm-hmm.
I know he talks later on about how when people feel their needs aren't being met, they resort to violence and other uh crazy, to lack of a better word, crazy things to try to get that need met.
Feel. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but why is that need? so much that you put your life at peril to do it. And that ain't the only one. I mean, we hear stories every day about young folks speeding up and down the freeway. Uh, older folks, the police getting ready to pull you over. You scared you got warrants or something, but as they turn out, your warrant is for a parking ticket. Or,
Mhm.
you might have a ticket, something that on the surface, you probably just get a slap on the wrist and get sent home because they do it all the time. So what need are you trying to meet by eluding the police and putting not only your life, but all the
The rest
citizens
of
on the road at peril?
everybody else.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Yeah.
So I don't know. It was like that accident. It was an accident yesterday, about 3 o'clock 3 o'clock in the morning. A car runs into the back of a three-wheel motorcycle on the freeway. Now, that time of morning, it ain't a lot of y'all out there, I would assume. So how did you run into his back?
How did you not see it? So again, it's leading to what were you doing in that vehicle? Are you under some influence because you're seeking variety? You're
Right,
out, so you're.
right, right. Or were you on your phone because you felt that whoever this was that called you,
You ain't
it
miss
was more important for you to talk to them than pay attention to the
than pay
road.
attention to the road. Yeah.
Or
Like
shit. Yeah, great.
our actions creating, bad circumstances for us, our need to respond, or answer a call or not miss someone's call, driving us to put ourselves under stress.
Right, right,
That need to not say no. Oh, I can't tell somebody no, or oh, they did such and such for me, so I can't. I got to do this for them. Now we put ourselves in a bind
right,
because we need to, you know, feel significant to them, or that importance, or
right.
that favor return, whatever it is. Right? We then now place ourselves in a bad state.
Yeah, yeah. And like I said, I don't know that they could have been sleepy. Well, what you
Yeah,
doing on the road that time of morning? You
pull
sleepy.
over.
It's a lot of stuff that. And so with that leads me to what we were talking about earlier before we came on the air,
Mm-hmm.
the Tyler Perry movie,
Yeah.
Straw. Now I don't know how many of you seen the movie, and I don't know if you've seen it, what your opinion of it is, but to me it turned out to be first it was just a run of the mill type movie. A lot of sweating going on there. Taraji did a lot of sweating, a lot of sweating, a lot of sweating. But
So much hot.
yeah, yeah, and it reminded me of Denzel's movie, sort of when when
Yeah,
he
there were
when he
hints.
yeah, right, when he had to get the transplant. His son was needed transplant, and he went to the extreme for the transplant. But I think once you see the movie, then you'll see why she went to the extremes that she went to. Because after you get into the movie, you find out it's not really what we think that
Mm-hmm.
causes her to act the way she acts. Because it seemed to me like some of that stuff could have been avoided on her part. Oh, we know it's a movie, but somebody did a review of individual review, not one of the movie critics, and saying that while people saying that wasn't real world, but it actually is real world.
Oh, that's so real.
Yeah, because people go through that kind of stuff every single day. And straw, as in the last straw,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because she went through a lot of stuff, and she was dealing with a
Short
lot.
period of
Right.
time, or
Yeah.
compounded, and then
Compounded, and then all of it hit her at the same time.
same
Well,
time.
a lot of people who had a chance to do something for her didn't, got extreme with it. And that was real lunacy. But the I think one of the underlying stories of the movie, or part points of the movie, is that then we have a chance every day to impact somebody's life in a positive or a negative way. And too many people take the negative road as opposed to the positive road.
Yeah.
And like we just said in that movie, if you want to every actually, if you want to be truthful, the only person that didn't take the negative route in that movie in the beginning was Tiana Taylor.
Yeah. Yeah.
She was the only one who didn't approach it with a negative mindset. Everybody else walked in the door. She did it. She this, she that. She deserved
Had
it.
already. Yeah.
Yeah, already passed judgment. And I think it, her part was, sh I was there when she was a little girl. She was there, and you know, uh, and I think that's why we're told to treat people the way we want to be treated, as opposed to treating them the way we think they
Think
need.
they should.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
they, yeah.
Even
Yeah,
what even
it's gonna look different every time. It's always gonna look different. Now, unless you got some stuff going on and you don't think you deserve to be treated well, then of course your response is gonna look different.
right,
But most people, when you say treat them like you want to be treated, it's gonna look very different from my perceived thought about what I feel you need in this moment.
right. And if we don't do anything else, I mean, it's really as simple as just don't treat them bad.
Bad. And it's very simple, right? How that sounds. But you got the people, like the Teslas we're laughing and talking about that you're annoyed by this situation. Why you in here doing this? Like all these things are happening to you in the same moment,
Right,
but also nothing is happening to you in this moment. Like that could be happening to you in this moment. There's
right,
somebody who has taken the lead, who's kind of managing the situation. So far, she's done nothing extremely harmful for you. You could really sit back and just, hey, I don't
still,
have the tools. I I don't got what to say right now. You already agitated with me because I ain't give you your $521.
right,
So I'm gonna just shut up and be right here. But instead, it's I need to speak. I need to respond. I need to have something to say or add to on top of this situation.
right. And I that part because I even though we talk about how she was doing what she did, but I didn't even think about the person who always has to say something. They just don't shut up. There's no reason for you to say anything. She mad at you. Okay, so you really need to be
Be
quiet then.
quiet.
Because all you doing is making her madder. Every time she opened her mouth, she got madder. Because why are you saying anything? And that's the lunacy of it. Why are you saying anything? Because
Yeah,
now you
and
not right. Now you bringing your insecurities into the situation, making it worse.
heightening and creating more. Like, and I think I've been in situations where I'm like, people don't realize your comment, and I probably have been guilty of it also. Your
Sure.
comment, your extra is not helpful. As helpful as you think it may be in a moment, you are not
Right.
helpful. And it's okay sometimes to recognize, yeah, I ain't got it today. It's not my turn. But again, that goes back to that need to be significant. Oh,
Right.
I'm gonna be heard. So I'm gonna be the one to change this situation or something. Maybe it's not your day to be the hero.
Right. Right.
So it's okay to be quiet. Like you're not the one today to talk them off the ledge.
Yeah.
So be quiet.
Right. And especially if you're not even qualified, because her comments were definitely not, oh, it's gonna be all right. Her comments was like, lady, you trying to kill me. Yeah. So you just making her mad and because every time you say, oh, you robbing the bank. And she said, I'm not robbing the bank. I just want to cash my check. And you're gonna give her all the money in your drawer and the woman
Now
next to
she
your
over here
drawer.
adding the money to what are we doing here?
Yeah. So come on now. Don't I know it's hard in some situations. It becomes hard for us to stop and think. Just take a breath and think. But the truth of the matter is, if you're in a situation where you are not in control, all you have is time to stop and think. You need to assess the situation and try to make the smart move and see what's going on right. Because again, like you just said, you got somebody in here who seems to be handling the situation. They're your boss. So let them handle the situation instead of you coming in here with your madness. Because even the other girl told her, "Why don't you just be quiet? Why don't you just be quiet?" And the old people, I mean, they made it out. They
Mm-hmm.
so. It's like so we gotta really that need to be significant. I think
in both aspects, right? In a positive way or in a maybe what you think as positive, but it ain't showing up how you thinking it's showing up.
right,
Your
right.
needs for to be seen, heard, or whatever the case may be. Because I recognize, right, for a person that's been silenced or a person that has dealt with things and now that's what they live by. I need to speak out. I need to
Yeah,
whatever. I understand that.
right,
But it's the other ones we talking about where it's like, what's your motivation? What's your motive? Right. I'm dealing with a situation now where I'm like, what was your motive, right? To incite a situation as innocent as it may seem and could be. Also, there's motive sometimes behind our actions that maybe we haven't sat with them to think about. I'm like, oh dang, I really didn't need to do that.
yeah,
And then there are times when we know when we're doing something, but we can hide behind the innocence of it because it isn't outwardly, demonstrative or in a way that you immediately could pick out. Oh, I see what you're doing. It's
right,
quiet and it's subtle, and those things can be very, counterproductive. Also.
right, right. Because that in back in the movie, remember her main fear was that police officer.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. From that interaction, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And then the other cop is she's just gonna lie. Oh no, come on, come on, come on.
It's up. The jig is up here.
Yeah, yeah. Tony Robbins says in an intimate relationship, if your partner ever starts thinking something or someone is more important than you, that will initiate serious pain. That someone could be your child, a mother, a father, your coworker, or even an outside party. And the instant that happens, as soon as someone feels like something else is more significant than them, that's when the relationship starts to break down.
Mm-hmm.
So outside of an intimate relationship, there are unlimited ways that people find significance in their lives, and those ways can be productive, neutral, or destructive.
Perfect. Perfectly said. I didn't even read that section.
Yeah. Yeah. It is amazing. It is amazing how people find their significance in life. One of the things that I found out is that in our community,
Mm-hmm.
it is especially relevant the need for significance because most Black folks, especially older, and I'll specifically say baby boomers, they found significance in a couple places. One was church, and another was in fraternal organizations because those were places. And then of course, thirdly, some at work, depending on what your job is. But those are places where those people were allowed to be in positions of authority,
Yeah. So
where they were,
value.
yeah, value. They were counted on to make decisions, important decisions. And when they're not in those places, their decision making is always questioned
Mm.
or downplayed. Even at home, you're not as important. It's, you're not as important at home as you are in those places because folks don't know it's for those Bible students. It's like when Jesus said that it's hard for him to uh, heal people, perform miracles at home where he was born
Mm-hmm.
because everybody see him as Jesus,
Lord Jesus.
yeah, little Jesus, the carpenter's little snotty nosed boy that's running around. They don't see him as a miracle worker or somebody
Mm-hmm.
of importance or significance. He's just Jesus. Because even his brothers in the beginning didn't recognize that who is he? He's just our little brother. He ain't nobody.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not little brother, big brother. He's who is he? He's nobody special. And so people look at you a certain way and they don't place importance on who you are and what you can contribute.
Yeah.
So luckily, you have those fraternal organizations, you have those jobs, and in church where
Church.
people actually have a voice where they can say something. Problem is though, is that sometimes when they're given a little more than just a voice in those organizations or those places,
Hmm.
they tend to talk about stuff that ain't important or talk past solutions to problems. And so that's where the problem comes in. And we have to know how to balance it out.
Yeah, in both areas. Yeah.
Right, right,
I'll use myself, for example, I started, a little second job on the weekends, and um, I'm always just like, hey, I'm just here to be in it. Whatever y'all go tell me, y'all tell me, sweep, dust down these shoe shelves, no problem. Meanwhile, in my daily 9 to 5, I'm of
running things.
importance.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I'm of importance. But here, they probably would never, unless some of them I haven't had conversation about what I do, full time or whatever like that. But they probably just think I'm, just
right,
kicking the breeze, whatever it could be,
right,
and I'm happy in that way because it's a break from being needing to be, the voice, the person making decisions, and here.
right, right. And so, and here's the thing that people need to understand. If you built that way, where you are a person of significance,
Hmm.
that's something that you can't really hide anyway. If you just be you, in other words, don't go out there trying to take over, trying to tell them that, like you said, whatever y'all want me to do, I'm gonna do it. If you just be you, it's gonna come out. It's gonna come out, and you may not want it to, but
Right, right.
but it's gonna come out, and there you are. So
Yeah.
you never should go hunting significance.
Yeah, and some people do, for whatever reasons they do it, but I can see, I've seen people do it, and it's just
Yeah,
like, don't go, just, I want to tell you, just ease on into it, like you'll be all right. You don't have to kind of make people see you.
yeah,
um and it's also how people are brought up. It's
right,
cultural for sure, right? I
yeah,
think a lot of stuff we sometimes can be passive aggressive on. In other cultures, they're taught to, no,
right,
you come in, you need to show people, what you
right,
can do,
right,
flex that, your ability. And some of us, we chilling in the background. I could do this 5 times over. I could run circles around this with you, but I don't need to,
right, right. But
make that
not,
be known.
yeah. Well, we'll see that part you just said though is that now when we're in mixed settings, we need to be very careful
Hmm.
because some folks will be more than happy to abuse our goodwill.
Hmm.
And so
Very
then
true.
and then want to use you, have you doing stuff, but not compensating you for the stuff that you do.
You do. True. That's also true. Yes.
Right. So we have to be careful not to, because our need to be let me see which one was for connection, I guess, or contribution. Those two items, although they're separate in separate categories, but connection and contribution can get us in trouble, especially when we're dealing with people who have ulterior motives.
Yeah. A more aggressive or, out there kind of in your face
Right,
style or personality for
right,
sure.
right. So and so I'm going to skip. No, no, no. The next one is love and connection. See, he says throughout history, when he said, why do people do what they do? Throughout history, the answer has been love. The problem with the need for significance is that it means you have to be different than everyone else. And just in the way that the need for certainty reveals the need for variety, the need for significance reveals the need for love
Love.
and connection.
True.
Right. People find connection through friendship, sports, or community. Other people get it through pets or art. Some prefer meditation or by being in nature. Some can get it through their faith and through prayer. And here go one that gets a whole lot of folks in trouble. People find connection through sex, even when it's meaningless.
Mm,
Yeah. Some people get it by creating problems.
that's very true.
Yeah. For example, if you don't give a child attention for anything good, he will do
Do
something
something
bad.
bad. Yep.
Yeah. So right. I'm going to go back and look at the TED Talk instead of reading it, look at
Yeah.
it and
Yeah.
see how he presents it. But It's right on point. We know that if people feel ignored, they're gonna do anything to get attention. And kids are the biggest users of that. They are going to do anything. Once they see that this gets your attention, they're going to keep doing
Oh yeah,
that.
we're right here with it. This is how I get you. Okay, say less. Right, and now as a baby, that's
It's to
just
be
what a baby do.
well, they can't communicate any other way.
Any other way. But once I recognize and realize how your response to what I'm doing, okay, now I'm a little manipulation.
Right, right. And the worst part about it is some people never grow out of that. Never. They spend their and I guess those are people come from those dysfunctional families. They do their whole adult life. They're still creating problems
In order for someone
in
to
order for somebody to get some attention.
see and look into it, yeah.
Yeah. And that is never cool. Because I mean, when you look at some of the stuff that people get arrested for, like, why did you do that? Really? But the answer is because that's the only thing they know to do. They know it works. And the sad part for some people is it's like when they talk about people in who are actors or celebrities, any media or any press is good press, even if it's a negative story about you, because as long as your name is out there, people talking about you.
They'll say, yeah,
And that ain't good.
spend your whole career life, whatever, chasing around lies or untruths.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
think that's what you set out to be doing.
right, right. Or putting out fires about your life.
And as much as we know, you can just live, be you, and like you were saying earlier, it's gonna show up for itself. Yeah, sometimes though the noise will be louder than the truth.
Yeah,
And people
yeah.
we allow it sometimes. So we nobody's seeking the truth, but it's easier just to believe a lie or what somebody
Oh,
is telling
sure,
you or
sure.
what's in front of you.
If it sounds good to me,
It's likely true.
it's likely true. And if I trust you
The source that it
for
came from.
whatever reason that I'm trusting you, I ain't speaking nobody's name right now, but for whatever reason I trust you,
Mm-hmm.
and you say something, okay, it's true. But let somebody else say it, it's a lie. And it's funny. It's funny because the next line that is below this picture, I didn't see it. Adults do the same thing, but often in a more dramatic and more painful way, like through resorting to illegal or hurtful behavior.
Yeah. See, yeah.
Or what about when you're doing well in your life, but you tell people a different story? You put a negative spin on something in order to make them feel better. But we spend our yeah, I blew past that thought I had. We spend our existence trying to be something somewhere to somebody. Just- And we don't even understand, we don't even understand the significance of the stuff that we do. We just don't. It's like go ahead,
Is
go ahead.
that fulfilling our purpose though? Right? Because aren't we here for a purpose or a greater good? So are we just meddling around looking for those things, trying to find these ways?
Well, one of the things that he said, now we it's six things, right?
Mm-hmm.
They all aren't equal. So there are six things that all people want, right? Certainty, variety, that's two, significance, three, love and connection, four, growth and contribution, five, and we're at the number six.
I think he counted them together because I kept saying that too. Like, where is six? So I think
Right.
one, sir, one, two, three,
One,
four,
two,
five.
Which one? Okay, which one was four for you guys? Four is
Four
love.
is love and connection, and then
So
five and six are growth and
our growth and
contribution.
contribution. So,
Yeah,
yeah, so that's got to be because he said
how he said
the
it.
first four. But so they all aren't created equal. So we will put the significance or the biggest tilt on the one that we find most significant. And so that being said, now which one is going to make you do what you do? Because which need is not getting met?
Mm.
Because truly there aren't a lot of people that at least one of those needs aren't being met. It's just that they don't put importance on it. And I mean, I guess I could see the logic behind it
Mm-hmm.
because it's just like in our relationships. The people who pay the most attention to us are the people we pay the least amount of attention to because they're always there.
True.
So I don't have to do anything special because they're always there. But what about these folks over here that's ignoring me? I
I have
need
to go invest
right
time, energy, effort.
into something that's not yours, people who don't care about you, but I'm going to invest all my energy over here and ignore the ones
Who
who
have been here this whole
this
time.
whole time and take them for granted and hope that they're still around. And in the same way with people, we take things for granted as well. Just like they always say, if you're good at something, if you don't use it, you're going to lose it.
Lose it.
And the stuff that we're the best at, we tend to get bored of, and we move on to other things.
Other
Eh,
excitements,
Other,
variety. We got to go get that variety.
yeah, yeah, because I can do that. I can always do that. And then one day you find out that you can't do it anymore because you took it for granted. And so, like the things in our lives, the people in our lives are all the same. They're there, and we just put them off to the side to be there, and then think we can come running back to it, to it or
Kicked
them.
it to the dust. Yeah, yeah. Then kicked it to the side, to the ground, and now
Yeah,
I need you. Let me gather you back up.
right. And so that goes back to when he said that well, love and connection is one, but well, I guess that's the one because a lot of folks, a lot of young women are guilty of this, where they sleep around with anybody just to feel love, what they think is love. And so now you run around having all these kids, and the person you having them with could care less about you or those kids.
Mm-hmm. And sometime now follows up with destructive behavior to get this attention of this person that is not thinking of you and those children that you have created.
Right. Well, I don't know if some people that may be listening know about it. The woman in Pontiac
Oh, that left her
that
kids.
left her kids for what was it? Years.
That was wow.
It was at least 4 years, I think.
Yeah.
But left them there with peanut butter and jelly, and that's about it.
The little seeds was door dashed
Yeah,
food.
was sending food every now and again. But the kids were left to fend for themselves. And while she out there living her life, living her best life. And you got because it's the funny part is when you see that townhouse on the outside,
Mm-hmm.
you wouldn't think that kind of stuff was going on the inside. It still looked nice on the outside. Was that the wait a minute? Let me make sure I'm getting it correct. Yeah, because the boys were sleeping on the porch, right?
No,
Was
that
that
was a
that's a different one?
yeah, that's a different one. That was
Oh yeah, that's right. That was the two teachers that had
mm-hmm.
their kids. Well, one of them was a teacher, had their kids sleeping on the porch, right?
The
But
pastor, something. Yeah.
yeah, right. Something else. So, but again, another
Yeah.
another example of parents, and and see there's the rub. You having these kids, and then you don't want to take care of them. You want to make them fend for themselves. Why are you having the kids? It's real simple. we know you're gonna keep having sex. We know that. We're not dumb enough to say don't have it. But use some kind of birth control method.
Something.
Something. I mean something. Because we know you're gonna keep having sex. We already know that. That ain't gonna stop. These folks out here having kids, leaving them uh leaving them while they're still at home, leaving them. So the kids are there, the parents are there, but the kids might as well not be there because the parents ain't paying no attention to them. Leaving them at the house, or God forbid, killing them.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the other one. Harm.
Right.
Leaving them in the care of somebody else who don't care. And then they bringing harm to them.
Bringing harm to them. Right. So what is your motivation there? I mean, what is that need that is so great, right? That's not being met. That is so great that and I know a lot of cases, when we have these out of wedlock, these teen mothers, and even some older mothers, when they're having these kids, they got a couple reasons, and usually it's something that the guy is telling them. I don't want to use a condom because it don't feel the same. Why she ain't taking birth control, I don't know. It makes her sick. I don't know. Whatever it is,
Mm-hmm.
whatever it is, but it's always something that you want to run the risk to have a child that you're not prepared to take care of for some other crazy reason. And let's just say the first time you do it, it's an accident. It ain't an accident after the first time.
Because now you know
You know.
what could happen here.
Right, right. And yeah, you know it's liable to happen. Because if you had the first one, it's a real good chance the second one's coming and it ain't coming too far behind the first one. It's a real good chance. They call that fertile ground. So
Oh.
I mean, yeah, Mr. Robert, he has these this list, and it's important. Uh, if you develop the absolute sense of certainty that powerful beliefs provide, then you can get yourself to accomplish virtually anything, including those things that other people are certain are impossible. The fact of that matter is that you can do whatever it is you want to do if you're willing to try and do it.
Yep.
It's just that simple. If you're willing to try and do it. If you're not willing to try and do it, then there are consequences with every part of your life that you're not willing to put work into making it successful. And that's why we get that's why we get in trouble because we have uh habits, we have people who are more than willing to take advantage of what we do or don't do,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll just follow them because and you know that the sad part is especially for these kids is that no matter what they trust and believe their parents, no matter what, and the parents is more than willing to sell their kids down the road to meet whatever their one of their six
Yeah.
is.
Get a hold of it. Mm-hmm.
That's the sad part. They say if we can do if you know better, you do better. But some people don't want to do better. They just don't. They just don't want to put in the work to do better. And I think we all have been guilty of trying to do something to improve our lives and just said, I ain't doing it no more.
Yeah.
It's too hard. Or I just don't want to do it. I got something better to do. I mean, sorry with something as simple as a New Year's resolution to exercise.
Talked about. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, something as simple as that. And then you say no. And they'll tell you, when you say no, I'm trying to think, what was I watching? What was it? He said that He was on Shannon Sharp's little show. He said that they told him he would go to the gym. Yeah, and he was going to the gym, and then it would be days where he didn't feel like going.
Mhm.
And they told him that the minute you tell yourself you don't have to do it, tomorrow it's going to be an easier reason to not do it.
Not do it.
And then the next day it's going to be even easier. So now you're going to look up and here you are 6 weeks later and you stop doing something that you had been doing. And ultimately, you probably, a lot of stuff that we do that's good for us, we don't like it in the moment.
True.
But when we finish doing it, and this is one of the things that I can't think of his name, but when we finish doing it, we rarely ever say, that was horrible.
I hate, yeah.
We rarely say that. We always, it's
I hated that. I'll never do
right,
that again.
right. It's always bad getting ready to go do it. But while we doing it, because ultimately, what else do we have to do other than stuff to improve our lives? What else do we have to do? Watch TV, go shoot the breeze with our friends,
Mm-hmm.
which you can still do that. You can take part of your whatever your day, however your day is structured. You can take segments of the day and do this, do that, do the other. A lot of stuff that we need to do is only 30 minutes long.
Yeah.
And
Just
we
gotta build that discipline.
just got to be disciplined. And so he said that when he was going to the gym, he's he didn't want to go. He said so on days that he didn't want to go to the gym, he would make himself drive there and sit in the parking lot.
Wow. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, sit in the parking lot. Now, because I think the hard part is over. You got there. Getting your butt up and going inside is really not hard once you get there, because you're already there. So we need to take a look at these things that drive us, and then because he said the most important part of it is understanding what drives you, and then you can understand how to manipulate or maneuver your life to fit making these things happen in a positive way and not a negative way. Because a lot of folks out here robbing, stealing, killing, they doing it because they think it's easier to do that
Yeah.
than to do it the honest way.
Then yeah, put in work to obtain it.
Right.
Which hey, they might consider that work. Robbing, killing, and stealing might be work
It's
too.
their job. And a lot of them don't consider the consequence of getting caught, or they don't care.
Oh yeah, because who's gonna catch me?
Right.
Especially if I've gotten away once or twice already. Now I'm certain that that's not gonna be me.
Right.
That could not can't be my fate. Or if it crosses my mind, it's very quick, and then it's the the need to do whatever this thing is, or have whatever, obtain whatever, quick cash, quick money, items, whatever.
Right. And I'm smarter than
Supersedes
and I'm
that.
smarter than everybody else anyway.
Yeah, because if I get in a jam, I'm gonna get out of it. Because
Right.
you know,
Right. And it's like again, what makes people do the stuff that they do? I saw this video where this white woman was arguing with this black guy in a convenience store, gas station, whatever. What convenience store? They were arguing, and he said to her, "Lady, shut up. Why are you talking to me? Just shut up. Be quiet." And she kept going on this, and she started, calling him derogatory name, and then it was a Chaldean gentleman at the register, and he said, Why don't you just say that to him? Just go talk to him." And she just kept going on and on. He said, "I'm trying my best not to hit you, but you get out. You better get out of my face." And then so she said, she said something else to him, and I think she might have said something about her man.
mm-mm.
He said, "Well, why don't you go get him? Go get him." And so the guy comes, he comes in the store, and he looks at the guy, and my man said, "Take your woman and get her out of here. Get out of my face." And I think he might have threw a B word out or something. But the guy called him the N word. He said, "N word, I kick your butt." Why he say that? So my man hit him
Immediately.
immediately, and he went down like a lump of like a lump of wood immediately. But they kept talking though,
Yeah.
and so he hit him again, hit him, and pop, 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 and now here's where it gets great. Where why do people do what they do? The woman then decides she's going to attack him.
Oh.
So he hit her.
Oh, you did.
Oh, at this point he's sick and
He
tired of
mad
them,
about it. Yeah.
and so the guy come at him again. He just pummeled him. He done fell all on the floor in the doorway. And now he went from N-word, I kill you, to I love you. I love you. My man said, you didn't say that when you came in there. And so now he got out the store.
Outrage.
This woman, the black guy that got out the store because he's trying to get out away from him anyway. She followed him, walking down the parking lot, still talking.
Stop. Just stop.
So stuff like that. Why why do we keep doing the stuff even after you done effed around and found out? Why do you continue to do that crazy stuff?
Ooh.
What need are you fulfilling? Certainty. Well, with certain you was about to get slapped around. Variety. Hit you with a left and a right.
Got you with both of them.
Significance, them bruises on your face are gonna be real significant tomorrow. Love and connection. Well, the guy was saying I love you after my man connected on him a couple times. And then growth and contribution. What need was being met? He says that we respond not just to our psychological needs, but to our moral imperative to do more and be more than anyone could expect. Nothing gives us a greater sense of personal satisfaction than contribution. Yeah, but what kind of contribution? You feel good about what you did and said, but why? That's why. And so I think, like again, I think I said the biggest thing is that we need to find. He said this. We need to find out what our greatest need is, and then understand how far we would go to meet that need, and then try to figure out where does it fit in our moral compass. There are certain there are
Self-work at that point.
yeah there should be certain lines that we would never cross or on our own we would never cross because sometimes people make us they keep
Yeah.
pushing us and pushing us and then we cross a line that on our own we wouldn't cross. But then some of us just decide I'm gonna cross this
Cross the
line.
line. No help needed. I'm
No,
going on
none,
across.
none, none. One of the things that becomes important, and I guess we can get ready to wrap up. One of the things that's important is that like people, all these rumors about what happens in Hollywood or with celebrityship, and even the fact that Diddy is on trial like he's on trial, is because there was a need that he had years ago. I mean, I think a lot of us know his story about how with this young executive, learned the game and was, you know, climbed his way up the ladder fast in the music industry. But from the point of being somebody who started the game to where he is now, there was a line that he was more than willing to cross. Now the question is that line one of his own creation, or was it something that somebody else created?
Mhm.
And then his need to be significant allowed him to cross that line
Wow. Yeah.
because everything they talk about these, but what they expect black celebrities, what they say that they have to do to get fame and fortune. Were you willing to cross that line?
Yeah.
Apparently,
That's what they say too. The ones that aren't as big, or that are still underground, or still gotta hustle and make their music shake and all this stuff, is because they are deciding not to.
And the actors too.
Yeah.
They get to a certain point, and everybody say, "Oh, here they go." Yeah, because I saw a thing talking about Trey. Is it Trey Diggs? What is his name? Trey what? Trey.
What?
Uh, um, God, just when you said that, boys, was he in Boys in the Hood?
Boys in the Hood was Ice Cube, Morris Chestnut,
What's up? More?
Cuba.
No, so it wasn't that. It was one of the movies yeah, he came up as a young kid gangster,
Mm-hmm.
playing the gang role of a little street gangster. Tay,
Tay Diggs.
Tay, I guess it's Tay Diggs. Yeah, Tay
Tay Diggs
Diggs.
was a gangster in the movie.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, he was. God, I was just looking at it. What was his early movies? You don't know, do you? You don't remember? Because what's It's Tay Diggs, and it was the one name, first name Trey.
I don't know no traits.
So it's got to be Tay Diggs. Golly, you when you draw these blanks,
Mm-hmm.
that's what gets you in trouble. That when that blank come up. But it's like he spelled his name Tay
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. E on the E.
on the end.
Taye.
Oh yeah, Tay Diggs. So no, it ain't Tay Diggs. It's not Tay Diggs. It's not Tay Diggs. Because it was one of the movies about money. They was talking about one of the things that they had. So it's not Tay Diggs. I just looked at him. Trey Songs, Trey, like whatever. But he was coming up the ladder. He was in all these movies. He played a young thug, and he was doing a versatile amount of roles. He was doing all kind of different things, and all they said he was ready to springboard into bigger and better things, and then all of a sudden he just disappeared. He just was disappearing.
Gone from the scene.
Huh?
I said gone from the scene.
Yeah, yeah. And then and they was talking with him, and he was saying about just the stuff that the industry wants you to do, and he just wasn't willing to do it. And that's the bottom line. He wasn't willing to do it. Yeah, okay. So yeah, he ain't in Boys in the Hood. Ice Cube, Cuba Gooding, Lawrence Fishburne, Morris Chestnut. I don't know. I can't think of his name. I'm sure as soon as we get up there, I'm gonna come up with his name.
No.
Minister Society. Who was in that? Oh, Lorenz Tate.
Mm.
That's who it is. Lorenz Tate,
Okay.
the Minister Society. So he was another one that was on a trajectory, and he just disappeared. And so, of course, the rumblings were going around about what he would and wouldn't do, or what he should and shouldn't do, and how he didn't respond the way the powers that be wanted him to. And I don't know, because that whole thing, they say when black actors or comedians, when they have them put a dress on for a role,
Mm-hmm.
they trying to demean them. But I do know that prior to a lot of these guys being actors and being famous actors, there were white comedians doing the same
Doing
thing.
it.
And so I don't know.
That's Miss Doubtfire.
That's the biggest one of
Took
all.
Robin up out of here.
Yeah,
All the way to the
right, right.
top.
And it was folks that were playing them roles before that. Back in the 30s, there was a comedian called Joe E. Brown. Did I guess it might have been later than that. It might have been 50s. But he played a role where in a movie, matter of fact, with Tony Curtis, movie called Something Like It Hot, where Tony Curtis and Jack Lemmon, that's what it was. Tony Curtis and Jack Lemmon wore dressed up like women. And at the end of the movie, the guy, Joey Brown, he was like, Jack Lemmon was telling him, I'm a guy. And he's talking about, well, we all got our problems. Well, he wasn't paying no attention to that. And so that's been a thing, a Hollywood-esque thing forever. But even greater than that, in I know we talking about why people do what they do. In Greece, they didn't allow women to act. So when they did plays and stuff like that,
Hmm.
whoever had a female role was a man.
Oh,
Yeah, all because all the actors were men. So now Greek folks had a peculiar kind of lifestyle as well.
wow.
But the idea is that it's not particular to how roles are dished out to any particular race or comedian or people. It's something they do. Now, this other thing is out on that other side of that. But I mean, ultimately, everybody got to make the decision that they got to make. And you would hope that we do it for whatever our moral compass is, that we stay within that to do whatever it is we do. Because if we don't,
Certainly.
the first thing is hard. Second thing is a little easier. And four, five things down the road is real easy.
No second thought. You ain't
Mm-mm,
thought more about it.
don't even care. I done did it now. I'm all the way in. I might as well keep on going. And
Bring in a friend now. Let me bring on somebody else to join in with this foolishness, whatever it is.
hmm And you know what the old saying is, hurt people. So we got to be real careful. We got to be real careful. So I don't know. Why do people do what they do?
If we try to give some perspective and context, I think it was very,
Yeah.
but at the end of the day, only a person could, and if they know why they doing it, if they could even speak to it or justify or,
But that's the answer to the question. And I think Tony Robbins said that was the answer to the question. Each person got to figure out why they do the things that they do
mm,
because it's personal. It is personal. Because at the end of the day, going back to the movie, just looking from the outside, everything she did look crazy. Because aside from a mental defect, she had the power to stop
at any,
at any point.
yeah,
She did. She had the power. Even before it got to where it got to, she had the power to stop it. And she just didn't. Because remember, she talked about she didn't go around her mother and her sister because they was crazy. Pot calling the kettle black.
yeesh.
Sometimes we
Oh, look at here. Look what we've done here.
was yeah. So
Uh-oh, Janaya.
yeah, we gotta be careful what we what we saying and who we saying is crazy because a lot of times when we say people crazy, it's really us. It's really us. It ain't them. Brandon, you got anything else you want?
No, I don't.
Yeah. So if you're listening, and I do mean listening, think about why you do the stuff that you do, especially the stuff that's a little off center, especially that stuff. Think about why you're doing it. Because ultimately, what we do in our lives is our business, as long as we're not hurting anybody else. But it still might be crazy.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. So, Brandon, if you ain't got nothing else, I'm done. I ain't got nothing else to talk about. I done talked
No,
enough. I done talked
no, I'm
enough.
good. It was a good conversation. I'm glad we kind of found that to, back
Right.
support.
Yeah, that was real good. I like what I like the stuff that he's saying. It ain't nothing new,
No,
but it's put together well.
yeah, nice perspective of how he,
Yeah,
arranged it. So
yeah.
TonyRobbins.com is the website. Now, if y'all go find out he's Trump supporter or some strange stuff, I'm so sorry. I didn't do no back searching that way about it here, but the facts presented or the data
Right.
information is something, that I can
It
agree with in this sense as this.
in this area,
Beyond anything else, guys, if you go look him up,
they ain't none of our business.
they ain't got nothing to do with me. Sorry. I do
Yeah, yeah.
apologize. I'll do better next time. Because somebody else out there may share also these same thoughts and be a better representation. But anyway, check it out if you care to listen. And the TED Talk is on YouTube. So type them in, see what comes up.
Yeah, because TED Talks usually run what about 30 to 40 minutes,
Yeah, depending on the show.
depending on yeah,
Yeah, but they
yeah.
not super long. They're
No,
getting right to it.
right, right. So, and I haven't watched one in a while, but they were pretty good, the ones that I did watch. So yeah, check him out. And it may be just maybe you might hear something from him that you received a little better from what we said, or he might say something that we didn't say, and it sparks or creates a spark in you to make you want to do better.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, we all want to do just a little bit better. So we up out of here.
All right.
Peace.
Peace out.
Oh, I did that and it didn't do nothing.